One thing social media has completely messed up is the order people buy things. Everybody wants a Rolex. Everybody wants a G Wagon, the designer bag, the luxury apartment, the vacation. And listen, I like nice things too. This isn't one of those videos where I'm going to tell you never enjoy your money. That's not what I'm saying. But here's what nobody talks about. Nobody asks what's actually paying for all that. Because if your paycheck is paying for your lifestyle, you're probably not wealthy. You just have an expensive lifestyle. That realization completely changed the way that I spend money because I realized wealthy people don't buy luxury first. They buy the thing that eventually buys the luxury. And once I understood that, I couldn't unsee it. If you're enjoying this video, subscribe because every week we're changing the way you think about money, credit, investing, real estate, and businesses. Let's say somebody handed you an extra $50,000 today. What's the first thing that comes to your mind? A nice car, the dream vacation, maybe finally buying the designer bag you've always wanted, right? Now, let me ask you a different question. What if instead of buying something that made you look wealthy, you bought something that actually made you wealthier? I think one of the biggest financial mistakes people make is confusing wealth with luxury. They're not the same thing. Luxury is what wealth buys. Wealth is what buys luxury. Hold on. I'm going to read that again. Luxury is what wealth buys. Wealth is what buys luxury. Most people try to skip straight to the reward without ever building the machine that creates the reward. I see this all the time with nurses. Somebody graduates, gets their real first paycheck. Maybe they double their income overnight, and what happens? They buy a new apartment, a new car, new furniture, they go shopping, trips, finally eating wherever they want. And honestly, I get it. Trust me, I get it. After surviving nursing school, you finally feel like I made it. The problem isn't enjoying your money. The problem is spending like you're wealthy before you've actually built wealth. I remember buying my first house at 22. There were so many other things I could have spent that money on. I could have upgraded my lifestyle, bought nicer things, taken more trips, done what most 22-year-olds would have done after getting a good paying job. But instead, I bought an asset. And I didn't realize it at the time, but that decision completely changed the way that I look at money because I wasn't buying somewhere to live. I was buying ownership. That one decision taught me something I wish every new nurse understood. Assets create options, luxury creates expenses. Then I started paying attention to wealthy people and I noticed something. They weren't obsessed with buying expensive things. They were obsessed with buying things that could eventually pay for expensive things. Businesses, real estate, stocks, cash flowing assets, ownership. Meanwhile, everyone else was asking, what can I afford? They were asking, what can I own? Now, before somebody says, so are you saying I should never buy nice things? Absolutely not. I love traveling. I like nice things. I fully plan on buying luxury, just not with my paycheck. There's the difference. Here's a realization that changed everything for me. Wealthy people often let the asset buy the luxury. Most people buy the luxury, then spend years working to pay for it. Wealthy people buy the asset, then let the asset pay for the luxury. Think about two people who receive a $20,000 bonus. One buys a luxury watch. The other one uses it a down payment on an investment property. 5 years later, who made the better decision? Probably not the person wearing the watch. Now imagine that investment property eventually produces enough income to buy the exact same watch. That's when it clicked for me. The asset bought the luxury, the paycheck did not. And honestly, I think social media has made this even harder because all we see is the reward, the vacation, the purses, the Lamborghinis, the jewelry, the penthouses. Nobody posts about the boring years. Nobody posts a duplex before the dream house. Nobody posts the business before the Bentley. Nobody posts the sacrifices before the success. People are copying the reward without copying the process. And then they wonder why the lifestyle never lasts. Here's one thing I realized. Some of the wealthiest people I've ever met didn't actually look wealthy. They drove normal cars, lived below their means, wore regular clothes because while everyone else was buying appearances, they were quietly buying ownership. Then one day, those assets started paying them, and suddenly all the luxury became easy. Not because they got lucky, because they built the machine first. That's what this video is about, building the machine, because once the machine works, the luxury takes care of itself. But if you buy the luxury before the machine, you become the machine. You have to keep working to keep the lifestyle alive, and that's exhausting. So here's what I want you to think about the next time you get a raise or a bonus, a tax refund, or some extra money. Instead of asking, what do I buy? Ask yourself, what's one thing I can own that might pay me for everything else I want later? Because I don't think wealthy people became wealthy because they avoided nice things. I think they become wealthy because they bought the machine before they bought the reward. Once I understood that, I stopped chasing luxury. I started chasing ownership. If this video challenged the way you think about money, don't stop here. I have resources to help you take the next step. Whether that's building your credit, learning to invest, starting a business, or protecting your family's future with life insurance. Click the link in the bio, choose where you are in your journey, and let's start building ownership together. I'll see you in the next video.